Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Raising an Ace. Today's episode is going to be about raising Ace to be mindful.
Yeah, you're gonna be mindful, Ace. Say hi, little boy.
Say hi.
Go up to the camera.
Say hi.
Mwah. And this is the last character trait that we're gonna go over. And this is a good follow-up to our last video on inner peace, because mindfulness is the number one trait that contributes to inner peace. And mindfulness is tied in with a few other character traits like being purposeful, gratitude, open-mindedness. So most people, I think, Miriam, when they think about mindfulness, they think of being present in the moment and being self-aware. So that's a part of it. There's more that we're gonna go into though. And first, I wanna differentiate the difference between open-mindedness and mindfulness, because obviously both have mind in the word. So open-mindedness is more so you're open to things coming into your mind and things going out. So it's what's in your mind, whereas mindfulness is what's on your mind. What are you focusing on? And we want Ace for his mind to be full as possible and focus on the right things.
Right.
And the main thing with that is self-reflection. That's so important. So we're really going to encourage that for Ace, so he's self-aware with his thoughts. So I think, Miriam, a lot of parents, they overparent. So they give too much advice and perspectives at the wrong time in the wrong place.
Right.
So there's a balance there. So what I mean by that is this one example I'm going to mention. Say he's like 6, 7 years old. He comes to us at 4 o'clock p.m. with a problem at school with a friend maybe. Or maybe he's trying to figure out different ideas for a painting he's doing.
Yeah.
We can't just immediately just give him our advice and perspective right when he tells us.
Right.
We may say something like, Ace, think about this and think about it. 3, 4 hours, come back to us in 3 hours.
Right.
So you're encouraging mindfulness by encouraging self-reflection first to solve his problems, not just immediately going to someone.
Yeah.
Or we may say, just come back to us tomorrow or come back to us in a week.
Right.
Maybe really empower him to self-reflect on his own issues. And this is tied in with a great quote I like from Blaise Pascal. I think he was a philosopher dude. He said one time, all of humanity's problems, Ace, he didn't say Ace, but I'm saying Ace, stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. So you got to empower yourself to solve your problems a lot of times through self-reflection.
Right.
I'm going to mention meditation here.
Yeah.
I personally don't meditate. Miriam doesn't either, but I do want to. I think it's a powerful thing. I think a couple of times a week with Ace, maybe just 5-10 minutes, we can meditate together.
Right.
So that's just sitting alone in your thoughts and just breathing, being aware of your thoughts and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant mentioned that this is a powerful thing that he used when he was alive. Every day he would meditate. He said he got that from Phil Jackson. Kobe in an interview called it the anchor of his day. And he can kind of attack the day from the right frame of mind through meditation. He's more in control of his emotions and being calm and all of that stuff.
Right.
So that's really important. And we really want Ace, through self-reflection, meditation, to prioritize his relationship with himself over anyone else. So I think a lot of people, they go to their phone for either knowledge and information or when they're feeling down. That's all right, but first you gotta really be able to be okay with yourself.
Yeah, basically look into yourself first before looking for answers outside.
Yeah, and those answers for anything when you're feeling down or just knowledge. You can go to your phone in a certain time and place, but we're going to be very cautious introducing a phone to Ace because that really limits a child's self-reflection and mindfulness, I believe. And if he emphasizes self-reflection in himself, he's going to know his strengths and who he is.
Right.
And the next part of mindfulness is present moment mindfulness. So this is tied in with our gratitude video and our purposeful video on honoring life and being purposeful in what you do. And even now, me and Miriam always laugh when he says bird, bird, bird when he's at the park or something, because he's mindful of things around him. He actually sees things. So we want him to maintain that sort of attitude as he grows up.
Yeah.
And a big part of mindfulness too is listening. So like talking to people.
Right.
So we really want Ace to be listening to people when he's 2, 3, 4, 5, whether it's relatives or something like that. Have good body language. Don't be distracted by all this stuff going on. That's not being mindful to the person that you're talking with. Also mindfulness in terms of communicating to people. So when someone asks you, how's your day? Sometimes you might just say good, honestly, but don't always say good. Like be mindful of how your day actually was and all the perspectives there. And for us, we're going to model that for him. Our mindfulness is paying attention to him through body language, eye contact when he's talking. And this is such a big thing because so many children, and I've seen some interviews on this, the number one thing they don't like about things that their parent does or do is not listening to them. They don't feel heard. And it's not so much about if you're listening to your child or not. It's about if they perceive if you're listening or not, which is different. Right. So even if we're listening, say if we're multitasking, we want to communicate to Ace, like, look, Ace, I got to wash the dishes now, but I hear you. I'm still paying attention. Mm-hmm. Like, voice that. It might seem simple, but that's a big thing. And the next thing with this is mindfulness leads to productivity too. Because you have to realize mindfulness in the present moment is the only thing that exists, not the past, not the future. So we don't want to really hear Ace say too much, I can't wait for the weekend. Because then you're not present in the moment. You're just worried about some tomorrow or the next day. You got to stay mindful. And Miriam, the next thing that I want to mention is the relationship to the past and the future. Because mindfulness is staying present, but there is a relationship there that I want to mention. So at first, you really got to be cautious of when you're going into the past. So be intentional with it. So it's like everything is in your mind, right? Past, future, all of your thoughts, but you need to be controlled when you go to the past. So first I want to say he needs to have an on to the next one mentality. So if he gets like an A on a test, through us encouraging his efforts and not just the grade, he's not going to sit back and put his foot off the pedal and not be mindful the next time he has to study. He's going to keep that drive going. Right. Kobe Bryant, I just showed Miriam this last night. In the 2009 finals after game 2, Lakers up 2-0, a reporter asked him, Kobe, why aren't you smiling? Like, aren't you happy? And Kobe, dead serious, was like, what's there to smile about? The job's not finished. Now, that might be ultra extreme in terms of mindfulness, but Kobe stayed in the moment and be like, look, the job's not done. Let me keep my foot on the pedal. A lot of times in life, you have to have that mentality. And this goes for everything, good and bad. If Ace has like a bad morning and he's sad in the morning, in the afternoon, he's got to be present and be like, look, the past doesn't always dictate the future. There's a relationship, but it doesn't always dictate it. You can reborn on command. That was the title of a blog post I wrote a couple years ago. So you can be whoever you want to be and almost neglect the past if you really have that strong of a will. And you may be asking, well, the past does dictate the present somewhat. And yeah, so the connection is like you can learn from the past, right? Right. So it's like if you get a D on a test, you can't just be like, oh, I'm just mindful of the present. I'm not thinking about why I got the D. You didn't study enough. So you have to be learning from that experience. Or if he's age 12 and he can't cook anything, he's got to be mindful. That's because you didn't pay attention to mom and dad for 12 years as we were cooking and trying to teach it. Right. Or the opposite, he does know how to cook. He's got to be mindful. That's because he listened and he paid attention to mom and dad. Yeah. So it's like mindfulness of the past. Also, mindfulness a lot of times in the present stems from preparation. Like right now, I'm mindful during this video because I know I prepared beforehand. So if Ace is a professional dancer when he gets older, and he's like a great dancer, when he goes on stage, he's going to be mindful during that and be calm because he prepared beforehand. Right. So a lot of mindfulness in the present is tied to past preparation. And now I want to go to the future. Helen Keller had a great quote on this. We all know she was blind and deaf. She said, the most pathetic person in the world is someone who has sight but no vision. So again, it's like you tap into the future and visions when you need to. But don't just do it nonchalantly and just always think about the future. But in a controlled way, it's very powerful. So once you have a vision, once Ace has that, and then break it down to the present moment, what can I do now to attack that vision? That's really important. Visualization exercises is really powerful. Envision what the best outcome is and then work in the present moment to achieve it. And some of this is differentiating what's important and what's not to achieve your vision. Right. So this is tied in with our personal video. Probably the best exercise in this whole video series that I like that we're going to do with Ace is on January 1st, like I said in that video, write down what gives you purpose and joy. And be mindful that your activities during the day encompass that. So when Ace gets a little older, I'm going to be conscious and write down what he's doing every hour of the day. And look, this is not to like shame him, but I'm just going to show him that. And honestly, the way we're going to raise him, he's already going to have that self-reflection built in to where he'll realize, look, like this, I don't really care about like half the things in this, or maybe like 1 hour here or there he's wasting. And he can be more conscious of that. Right. So this is so important because Miriam, like so many people, they're not really productive with their time. They're masters at time wasting. So many people, even adults, like they're worried about Donald Trump, they're worried about Joe Biden, they're complaining about either or. It's just a complete waste of time for you achieving your goals. So Ace needs to be conscious of that. Complaining and lack of time management, that's a really disempowering thing. And people wonder, why are rates of suicide, depression, anxiety, and lack of fulfillment so high nowadays? It's not a wonder to me at all. It's what I just said. People not prioritizing their time, being mindful in the moment, and letting all these things distract them and get them to have negative state of mind. So we want to be conscious of all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And we mentioned all this stuff in the video, and the whole video series is mental, right? Mental. This is the one time in the video series we're going to mention physical, because physical does impact your mental energies. And the first thing is your breath. So Jay Shetty, he's an influencer, former monk. He said in a podcast one time, the first thing he learned in monk school was how to breathe properly. Because he said, once you can navigate your breath, you can navigate any situation in life. You can dictate your emotions.
Yeah.
Your breath is the root a lot of the times when you're feeling unsteady. So if he's like 3, 4, 5, and Ace is nervous, or he's really exhibiting like negative emotions or that sort of thing, we may bring him down to his breath, right? And during meditation, or even outside of meditation, we're going to do deep breathing exercises with Ace. I think that's really powerful to get control of your body.
Yeah.
And then, of course, just being self-aware of how you feel. Internally, if you have aches and pains, exercise, we all know that is important. That really influences your mental state. We're not saying he has to do like strenuous exercise if that's not his thing, but some form. And diet, so important. Again, this isn't about diet and exercise for this video, but that's kind of self-explanatory how that's so important to raise a child to be amazing.
Yeah.
And my last couple points here is being mindful of the energies you receive. We talked about this in the purposeful video on friendship reflection. Are people bringing you positive energies or negative? If they're bringing you negative energies, you can let them in your house to kind of see what they're about, but then kick them out symbolically. And that's about music too, anything, any energies in your life, make sure it's for you and not against you. And then energies you're giving off to people. So this is tied in with our To Be Loving video when we said a lot of unloving behaviors in the world stem from not being mindful of other people. So for instance, I call it drive destruction. I wrote a post called that. I'll put a link there. That's like you, while you're attacking your goals, you don't even care about other people who you negatively impact. So it can be at the beach, you're running and you throw sand on someone, you don't care. Or
playing loud music and it's 2 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the morning and your neighbor is sleeping and have a kid.
Exactly. I'm sorry to cut you off a little bit, but I wasn't planning on mentioning this, but I just told Marion this yesterday. This ice cream truck is like they have like the rule of law where they can just make noise and wake Ace up every single day during that. But that's a story for another video.
Yeah, 6 o'clock every day.
Yeah. But this is so important to be mindful of other people. We're laughing now, but it's not a joking matter. Because guess what? The end result can be death in serious circumstances. When you drink and drive, that results in death. Every single week in this city, a bystander gets killed through gun violence. Sometimes a 7-year-old or a child. This is happening. This is real life. People wonder how can this happen? Why are they shooting at each other? Yeah. It's the same mentality. The same person who's not mindful at the beach at throwing sand on someone is the same person who's not mindful when they're shooting up someone. It's the same mentality. Right. The consequence is different, but it's the same mentality. So we want Ace to be mindful in that instance. Don't have tunnel vision as you're attacking your goals. Instead, be mindful of the positive impact that you make on people. This is my final point. Ace needs to understand there's global issues in the world. He has to be mindful of all the information out there, the worldly issues, and not just stay in his box and just be mindful for him. Right. He's got to be mindful of everything going on. And you don't want to be overly consumed with it at the same time and neglect yourself. So until you can help yourself fully, you can't help the world fully.
Yeah.
So we want Ace to understand that. And it's like, if he has a larger goal, like he wants to limit pollution in the world.
Yeah.
Be the example yourself. Don't litter, and then encourage people around you to not litter also.
Right.
And that's what, Miriam, like the whole video series is breaking down greatness, right? Our first video, how can Ace be great? And we broke it down to 15 character traits. Yeah. So the same thing with Ace. Yeah. Same thing with Ace. He's got to break his greatness down to each day, each hour of the day, and then be mindful each hour of the day to manifest greatness. That's so powerful. And you watching, I hope you encourage your child to manifest their greatness each day. And it happens through mindfulness and recognizing your power, right?
Yeah.
We're going to wrap up everything. So you don't want to miss that one.
Yeah.
It's been a great journey. In our last video, we look forward to kind of wrapping everything up on a high note. So take care.
Say bye.